symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
What's happening, everybody? The Job Guys back with you one more time. Nitro Nick not here. We'll bring up why in a minute. So we got a stand-in. We got Big Bryon. He's in the house. He's all gas, no breaks. Bryon, thank you so much for filling in, first of all. And there's a reason why you're filling in, because we're going to review SmackDown from Friday night. A massive SmackDown, especially the way it ended. I was in the building in Grand Rapids, Michigan, as were you. Thanks so much for being here, dude. And we'll get into it in a second, but we both went last second. And holy cow, dude, I'm glad that we did.
Very last second.
And I'm glad we did.
Yes, sir.
If you were sitting at home and the last 15 minutes of that show happened and we could have gone and didn't, holy smokes, dude, I'd be furious, man. Tell me about how excited you were to be in the building for what we saw.
Yeah, definitely. It was a jaw dropper for me. Being a father, a parent, got two little ones, got to take them both last night. Xander's second experience, Everly's first experience. We were on the floor. We were close to the action. And it was probably, I think you texted me, and I'll quote you on this, one of the best segments all time, maybe, in the last decade, 2 decades. You had to be there in the building. It was just something to experience. We got to experience it. I'm glad we were all there. Nick, I promise not to let you down. I hope you're feeling better, brother. It was good to see you last night, though. It's been 25 plus years, but it was something you had to be in the building for, to just witness. The atmosphere for John Cena was second to none.
Off the chain, dude. And let's get into it. The reason why you're here, the whole thing is just crazy the way it worked out, because even though we knew since the beginning, Cena has been advertised for this Grand Rapids show for a couple of months, but I wasn't going to go, even though there was last time to see him, because, dude, prices to this show were astronomical, man. I've gone to a ton of WrestleManias. They were WrestleMania prices. Now, in hindsight, maybe they were that high because they knew it's going to be a pretty special show. Dude, lower bowl seats were like $250. And you and I, like you said, we went to the Raw. You and I went to the Raw where The Rock read the eulogy for the Buried Alive match with Stone Cold, and then Stone Cold showed up with the monster truck and ran over the Lincoln out in the parking lot back in 99, April of 99. We went to that show, and we paid like $20 to get in, and we were sitting lower bowl. Dude, these were like $250 to go to a SmackDown. So I was like, I'm not going. Well, then they announced that Cena is actually wrestling. Then I find out that Nitro Nick, he normally comes home. He lives in Orlando. He normally comes home Christmas and 4th of July. He's like, I'm coming home this week. Dude, okay, we got to go now. So the plan was, if the show is great, we'll do a review on it on Saturday. Well, Nick wasn't feeling very well at the show. Turns out today he's as sick as a dog and is laying in bed. So hopefully he'll be able to do some more reviews on some other shows that we had planned later in the week. But for the time being, Bryon, here you are. And it's funny, I know you're a huge Punk fan, and I've always been a Cena fan. I've thought this heel run has not been good, and I called for it. I wanted the heel run, and I don't think it's been good.
You were calling it months before it happened.
They reset it last night, though, didn't they? They reset it last night. Let's start right there. Obviously, Cena's fighting R-Truth. They fight. Cena hits him with the belt in the aisleway. DQ. We all kind of knew, we're like, Punk's got to be here, right?
Something's happening. This isn't how it's ending.
And I wasn't looking at my watch until Cena started talking. And at that point, I was like, holy crap, there's 14 minutes left. Something else is going to happen. Then he cut the epic promo. But let's go back to, we all kind of unwritten knew Punk's going to be here, right? And then tell me, and I'm a huge Cena fan. I do not like Punk at all. You love Punk. Tell me, when that static hit, dude, tell me about what was that like. And you're down on the floor in like the 8th row.
Yep, and I had my 4.5, almost 5-year-old daughter Everly in my arms because she couldn't see. Unfortunately, the disadvantages of being on the floor, but we did see the red clock. We saw the timer clock, and when that disqualification happened, I told Xander, I said, get up on your seat. Something's about to happen.
Yeah.
And as soon as Xander stood up, I see him go, yeah, because he could see the static and he could see the jumbotron. I couldn't
Yep.
see it at that moment because I was trying to get my phone out of my pocket, holding everything. And both my kids were ecstatic, just totally ecstatic because following dad's footsteps, like in wrestling, they like the guys I like. Now they've branched out on their own, but I gotta say, my daughter, who started as a Punk fan last night, she totally turned and was a John Cena fan, and I like that.
A lot of people did who actually weren't. Yeah.
Right, and I've always been a Cena fan. I got a little sick of him after a while because it kind of got watered down. It was like, hey, the face of Punk and stuff like this. But I like this heel turn. I love how they did it. And last night, when he said, "You're welcome, Grand Rapids," we knew it was something special. That promo he cut, we knew was just, unreal. Unreal. And I was glad that Punk got beat up because I think going into next week, Punk's going to get the upper hand, and we kind of know how that leads, goes down that road. Punk's not the guy to beat Cena. If he was, it would have had to have been in the fall, late fall, going
it's early. We're still early in this heel turn.
The Randy Orton match was early too, but he's going to go through a path of kind of his greatest opponents, and then the ending is going to be a surprise. But that match last night, the ending, Punk coming out, the Pipebomb 2.0 was just glad to be in the building.
Yeah,
knowing that it happened in our state and we were able to be there.
The pipe bomb, obviously, 14 years later, you still hear about it all the time. You still see it. But being someone who is not a CM Punk fan, I don't go back and watch it, or I didn't even 14 years ago. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I became a subscriber to like PW Torch and a bunch of things during the summer of Punk because that's when everything heated up. That's when mainstream got on. ESPN got on it. Grantland, which is Bill Simmons, which is now The Ringer. All of them all got on wrestling because of that pipe bomb. So I knew it was good and everything, but you only ever see a few clips of it. You see the High Colt Cabana and you say that big nose doofus son-in-law. You don't see the whole thing. So I didn't remember everything about it, but the way they did it was so incredible. And I knew when he waved and said, "Hi, Claudio. Hi, Nick. Hi, Matt." That's when I'm like, okay, he's recreating the pipe bomb here. And then, but I don't know if you saw it, WWE tweeted today, they put a side-by-side. Dude, he's literally saying word for word the pipe bomb promo. So we knew what he was getting at, but I didn't know it was that intricate. Did you know this, Brian? Because you only ever see when he's sitting at the top of the ramp, cross-legged. You don't see anything else. I totally forgot that Cena also went through a table when he was doing the pipe bomb. And do you know who threw him through the table? R-Truth.
I think this all leads to R-Truth in the end. I honestly.
And you said it, and I've said it on here, and I gave you the credit for it because you heard that this is all going to be R-Truth. But once again, tell me the R-Truth thing was a work again. Tell me that. No, this is all intricately played out, dude. R-Truth was the one fighting Cena that night, put him through the table, then the pipe bomb. Now it's the opposite. Yep. Yeah, it's a work, dude. It's a work. They're working all of us, and it's beautiful, dude. The way they put it all together has just been awesome. And when you look back at it, you're like, wow, you're doing a good job. This is good. This is good, man.
And are the rumors true that this time last year Cena approached Triple H and Nick and was like, hey, I can give you guys time. This is a storyline that I have. Here it is. Or is this something that TKO board, The Rock, Triple H, they kind of just came up with on their own? Did they change some of it? Because this to me feels like it doesn't feel like a Triple H storyline. In a way, it feels like 5 years ago when Cena was jobbing to everybody, he was getting guys over. Remember, he
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa, Austin Theory, he was getting these guys over. What if the end result in his story was like, hey, this guy has this Ron Killings, R-Truth has been looked at as a joke the whole time, but he's been nothing but gave blood, sweat, and tears for this company. I read something today that JBL said he wants the end of this story to be Truth beating Cena. That Truth is the one.
Well, and you said that before, and you said it to me. You're like, this is going to end with R-Truth turning Cena back. It's like he's Luke Skywalker turning Darth Vader back to the light.
Gotta
like,
be
that, and it might be. And my only thing, and again, they got 6 more months to play off. Cena hit R-Truth with the belt, and then he just disappeared for the night. Where was he the rest of the night? He just disappeared. Yeah. So that kind of was weird, but we have more time to play with that. But anyway, let's get into the pipe bomb 2, or the nuke, as I was calling it in my section, as I was yelling out to everybody, because I'm a Cena guy. Anything that stood out to you, what he said? Obviously, he said a lot of word for word what Punk said, but he called him out on a lot of things. Obviously, there's the political aspect, which a lot of the dirt sheets are still talking about the tweet from Saudi Arabia to the Miz a few years ago, the blood money thing, and now obviously he's going to Saudi. Your thoughts on what was said anyway, anything that stood out in particular? A lot to me, being a anti-Punk guy, but what do you think?
Well, we didn't get anything from Punk, obviously. He was laid out the entire time, taking snooze, trying not to laugh, I think, at Cena, mirroring his pipe bomb because he knew it was coming. But I do think I noticed when he stood over him at the end, he said, bring your A game in Saudi Arabia. He didn't say at Night of Champions. So Cena went out of the way to say Saudi Arabia.
And he said your tweet game is strong, but your other game is weak, or something like that, which hinted a little jab, a little subtle jab.
Yep. And then the way I like the way he threw the mic down, and then he walked out, but then he came back to add, hey, thanks for letting me humiliate you with your own pipe bomb.
With your own promo.
With your own promo, yeah.
Which I think that was for the people that maybe didn't understand it. Like, hey, if you didn't get what I just did, here you are.
Right. Oh, and another thing was when he tapped the microphone in the crowd, we could hear it too. I thought it was like a bad mic or something was going on. I don't know if you guys can hear that where you're at. And then, he kind of was like, oh, somebody's, nervous or scared about what I'm going to say, So that right there to me had me kind of like, where is he going with this? But then, when he was sitting up on the ring post, on the top turnbuckle, I was like, I know where this is going now. Like, I totally get it. And kudos to them guys for playing this out, because the story behind this is great. I mean, because this is all I'm a bell to bell guy. Storyline, I like good wrestling. You like the storyline.
I like the storylines, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you're getting what you like right now, because this is,
Well, you keep hearing like constantly, all of a sudden, like AEW will and I know that's what you're getting at. They will not do something for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they'll kind of maybe play into this long-term storytelling. And now, I don't think 14 years ago they planned out, hey, in 2025 we're going to do this. But you want to talk about long-term storytelling and doing it perfectly. Holy smokes, dude. This matched up so good. Some of the stuff that Cena said, he said, I'm breaking the fourth wall, and waved, and he's like, that was good. Yeah, he just like Punk did. I don't hate you. I actually like you. No one else in the locker room does. They're not going to cut off my mic because nobody likes you back there.
Your only friend.
In the swearing, too, that made it real, because let's talk about this for a second, too. From the get-go, everybody compared the Cena turn to the Hogan turn. Obviously, Cena's a different guy. He's wrestling heel. He's doing some certain things that are heel things to do. But his promos, he cut the one promo on the fans, and then he's cut it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and everybody compares it to Hogan, is where I'm getting at. No, Hogan turned immediately. Hogan started spray painting people and buildings, started murdering people, running people over with cars, doing all this stuff, doing all the bad. We haven't seen Cena do anything completely different from the other Cena. Now we finally saw it. And I was like, this is what we've been waiting for, dude. This is what we've been waiting for. And they've
been building us up. They've been snowballing it, and they've been building it up week to week to week to week. And we're getting to a point now to where, this summer, I think it's gonna. I think before or after, right after SummerSlam, it's going to start to come full circle. I think you're going to see Cena say, "Hey, I trashed you guys and this and that, but you still cheered for me," and you're going to see possibly him come back around and end it on a positive note.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've called for from the beginning. The thing that I like here, and again, being a Cena fan, and this is going to go terribly on the internet, as a guy that's never liked CM Punk whatsoever, and a guy that doesn't like shoot promos. I don't like shoot promos at all because it's like a one-trick thing, and I'm always the kind of guy that the Scott Hall theory, don't say you're going to kill a guy because you're not going to kill him. And the other thing is, don't say the quiet part out loud. Like people like, hey, Hulk Hogan, you can't wrestle. And then people are going to see that he doesn't wrestle, and they're going to go, you know what? You can't.
He doesn't wrestle.
And that's CM Punk's entire thing. He says all the stuff you're not supposed to say, but then where do you go from there? That's what I hate about the shoot style promo thing. So I loved this because he got a taste of his own medicine. In everything I've wanted to say for 20 years that I was hoping someone would say, MJF, by the way, all he's doing is reading out of 101 joke book that you get in third grade at the book fair. Hey, buddy, this is how you really do it, okay? This is why you're still on Wednesday, because this is how you really do it. You learned a little bit last night, son. He got his own medicine back finally. Everything, and again, I don't like it, but I like it here because Punk has made his whole life off this. Now he got it back. You're not the voice of the voiceless. You're a millionaire. You're not a punk. You're a capitalist. You're not against TKO. You're Mr. TKO. Like every single, and I'm sitting there going, thank you. And again, I think the guy's a massive hypocrite. Everything he ever says, and then he gets bent out of shape. It's all about Punk. It's always all about Punk. And finally, somebody called him, and I know it's a work or whatever, but as a Cena fan and as an anti, that was a babyface promo to me. I'm like,
I mean, if in the building, I don't know how it came across on TV yet.
Everybody said it was
spot watch stuff. In the building, it was Money in the Bank, Cena, Punk in Chicago. It was a total turn of events. Punk was the anti-hero that everybody cheered for. Cena was your face. Company man came down to booze. Okay, that's kind of where we're at right now, but it's shifting. And eventually,
the other way around.
And I think
how funny is the yin and yang promo? I didn't realize that before. Now it all makes sense. That yin and yang
did
package.
Everybody see that on TV? Was that package on?
They saw it. They saw it on TV. They saw it on TV.
I didn't know if that was like an in-arena thing or what, but I mean that was. Yeah, I mean
it was awesome.
We went back and watched. We watched Money in the Bank today. We went back and watched it because Xander wanted to see it. So he was like, I didn't know CM Punk had different music, and I didn't know that they boosted John Cena before. And I said, I said, this is all coming back from 13, years ago, years ago, whatever it was,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
Shades of that last night.
They did it. They did it so well. And again, and Punk being Punk, and the way he is so delicate with his feelings, to allow that to happen, because he did look bad. I know there's some people. again, like, online that are mad at him because he's going to Saudi Arabia and all this. And I get that. And it's against what he said before. But
Right.
to allow that and then to allow Cena to take a couple jabs at him, this says a lot for him. And I just thought the whole thing was absolutely perfect. And now going forward, real quick, before we move on to the rest of the show, any chance that Punk beats him here? What do you think? If you can put on your booking hat real quick, what do you think?
I don't think the belt changes hands in Saudi.
You
I
wouldn't
don't
think.
see it. I could see women's, U.S., like when Logan Paul won it, IC tag title, stuff like that. I think that title turn, especially how big it is, that title change, which I'm not 100% sold that he's going to lose the belt. He may walk away with it
Yeah.
and they introduce a new belt and have a tournament for it. It makes perfect sense. But he may lose it to the next person that they're going to do. I don't want it to be Cody, but I don't think he loses it right now. It's too soon. Jay
It's too soon. Yeah.
was bad. To me, that was bad. My son and all his little buddies are yeeters. They're Cody crybabies. And, I had to explain to him it's part of the show. You take the good with the bad. Sometimes your guy's up top. Sometimes your guy's getting smashed. But I don't see that happening. And if it was Punk, it was too soon.
Yeah.
Just like Randy Orton. We all knew at Backlash, Randy Orton.
He ain't losing after a month.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you're not losing after a month.
I don't see it happening quite yet either. I'm not going to say 0% because after the events of the last couple of weeks, I really don't know where they're going. I thought Punk Cena would be at SummerSlam, and obviously now it's here, and now it looks like it might be Cody Cena at SummerSlam. He could lose it there. So I'm not going to say it's 0%, but if he does lose, I expect him to win it back at some point. But anyway, there was a few. How about the
pad
5?
That number a little more, 18, pad that number, go up one more or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, to get that distance from Flair in case crazy old man decides to, win some BFE championship somewhere.
The 5 microphone moves of doom. That was a good one. I love that, man. Let's move on to the rest of the night. You just mentioned your son and your kids, and we're going to get into that here in a second. Let's go on to the rest of the show real quick. Starts out with LA Knight coming out. Man, he was over. He was hot, man. That place was well. They were crazy for the speed matches, and we had like 3 speed matches before we got on TV.
Good.
We don't need to talk about those, but all of those people were over. And then LA Knight comes out. Guy was massively over. Then Paul Heyman comes out. Any thoughts on that whatsoever? We don't need to break every single thing down, but any thoughts on that? It sets up a match with Bronson later in the night.
It does. I think it just maybe adds allies for whoever's going to go against Paul's, stable of guys that he has right now.
Yeah.
Squeaky voice Paul Heyman, because his voice cracked a couple times last night when he was talking, and the crowd really heckled him behind that. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but He had a couple squeaks in his voice. But no, just I mean, squash matches, they're just going to be guys that just give us a little bit of a storyline for a while. I don't think LA Knight plays any part in Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank, cash in, anything like that. I think this is 2-3 week story arc just to get us through, in between PLEs.
Yeah.
I don't buy too much into it. I was really big, just like DK was on LA Knight, but I think the time's come and passed. Even though he is over, I don't think
he's over, but he's not over.
He's over, but he's not over, and I don't think that he can be the face with that main strap on there. Maybe I'm wrong, totally wrong.
No, he's good, and his promo last night I thought was one of the best he's cut. Like it was good, but he's high mid card. I don't think he's main event, dude. Anyway, we'll talk more about that as we go here because there was more on that coming up later. Hey, then we go to the semifinals. Ladies, Queen of the Ring. It's Alexa against Asuka. I didn't care about this one bit because I don't give a rip about Asuka, and I think they've ruined Alexa. I'll talk about that in a second. Match was fine. I just didn't care. Asuka wins. Anything on this match?
When I talked to Nick last night, he's not an Asuka fan, is he? He's more of an Alexa fan. I think when she's Miss Bliss, I am the same way. I don't like the Fiend. I think she's doing it. Maybe they're doing it to keep it relevant, or unless there's an angle they're playing into it. But I don't understand bringing Asuka back and then, putting her in this match with Alexa. Alexa clearly probably should have been the winner. I don't know what angle they're going with.
But
I
Asuka
think it's going to be
just came
Jade
back.
wins
You're
it.
not going to
Yeah,
job her out, right?
exactly. You're not going to job her. And they've been blending in the younger ladies, the new arrivals, Stephanie, Julia, and
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne. So, I don't, with the women, I don't know where they're going with this. I don't, I don't know. I just think that was the wrong one. Asuka was over with the crowd,
Yeah.
obviously because they missed her. She had been back, but we got Io Sky. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody that watches this show knows I'm a huge Alexa fan. I have been since the beginning, but I like Little Miss Bliss. I think, and all right, shoot me down all the Becky Lynch people are going to come after me or whatever. I think she's the best female talker. I think you're right. I think she's the best female talker of all time. I think she is awesome. Now, granted, she's this tall, but I think she's the best female talker ever. I think she is she the best worker? No. But again, you just mentioned, I don't care about matches. I care about characters and storylines. I think she's great. And they bring her back here, and they bring her back with this half Alexa, half still Fiend thing. And it's like, are you just trying to sell dolls? What's going on? And I know they're going somewhere with Charlotte, but I also don't give a rip about Charlotte like everybody else on earth. So I'm like, just make her the goddess again, dude. Like, what are we doing? I don't know.
And the problem is we have in WWE, there's roster bloat. They are bloated, way bloated. I know they released a lot of people. They have so
and they
many
just
people.
let a bunch of people up, Julia and Stephanie and Roxy.
And exactly. So, I get it. They're trying to build that women's division up, but come on, there's 4 or 5 girls that are in there that are, Charlotte, her time's come and gone. I feel like the crowd. I mean, the crowd does not care.
They were fairly nice to her, which we'll get into later, but
they were.
But yeah, they were nicer than other cities. But yeah, I was expecting a massive boo. We'll get into that. Next, we got one of the Yes Boys. I don't know which one it is. He's fighting Aleister Black. Black has his old entrance. And then all of a sudden, Truth gets in the ring and nails the Yes Boy. And then he's like, I want John Cena right now. I want John Cena right now. And once again, Aleister Black just disappeared. He showed up later in the back and confronted him. But as a guy, again, who gives zero rips on earth about Aleister Black, this just made R-Truth the biggest babyface since Hogan in 1987 to me. Because I was like, yeah, I don't have to sit through an Aleister Black match. R-Truth, you're Hulk Hogan 87 right now, brother. That's what it's, but anyway, so something is obviously maybe going to go on there. Well, and it was setting stuff up for later because we didn't see Cena all night until the end. So here we go. Now that I know you want to talk about this, here comes Cody. Cody's music hits. He's over as always. Everybody's singing his song. He goes to say something, and Jay's music hits. So, okay, we know they're fighting each other Monday, and they're friends and everything. The place is yeeting out of their mind. Go ahead and take over because I know this was a big moment for you and your family because you're sitting down there in the 8th row, and you just happen to be sitting on the aisle right where he was walking down. Yeah, just pure luck on that one. But I told him when I picked Xander up before we left, he had his pink Heat shirt on and his E-glasses, and I said, bro, Jay's not going to be there. He's fighting Cody Monday for the battle or for the semifinals. I said, he's not going to be there tonight. So he puts on his Acknowledge Me shirt. So, tribal chief. He's like, oh, that always works. So nothing wrong with that. No, and I think I told you after the show, we were sitting there, and then we saw a lot of traffic going up and down the alleyway, lights and stuff like that, in between commercial breaks. Yeah, and you could see WWE staff going like this. Right. And Xander looked over at me, and he was like, "Jay's here," and I was like, "You're right." So Jay's music hits. He comes down. We're literally the same section he comes down in. Xander, being a little dude, that's only 7. Squeaks his way up all the way right there. After Jay puts down the boy that he was holding when they were yeeting and stuff like that, he comes down about 10 steps, and as soon as he hits the floor, he rubs Xander's head and gives him a high five. And Xander comes back to me, and he was like, Yeah.
Couldn't talk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Cody and Jay are his guys. And so yeah, it was special. Everly got to be right there too. She's more of a Cody guy than a Jay guy. She just likes to eat, but very special as a father. I never had them moments as a child. You know,
Yeah.
we never got to go. We got autographs, or we might have seen people, but you know, when you're sitting, that'd be like us being like, oh, we got to Hogan and Savage, you know, come down the ring, and we got to, you know, they high five, both of them high fived us. You know what I mean?
Dude,
It's like
first show I ever went to, I didn't think about this till right when you just said this. First show I ever went to, house show, Flint, Michigan, IMA Sports Arena, 1991 summer. And we were sitting on the hockey bench side because that's a hockey arena. And during the middle of the show, there was a tunnel here and a tunnel here. They were coming out of this tunnel, but then the other team tunnel, all of a sudden, the Iron Sheik just peeks around. Remember that?
right.
And
Yes,
this is
I
the
do.
Iron Sheik, and obviously he's a big name, and he won the world title and everything. But at that point, he was Colonel Mustafa, and who gave a crap? But it was still, it was like, oh my gosh, that's the Iron Sheik. And we reached over, and he was like, hey, hi. And I'll never forget that.
That was a great honor, great feeling.
And that was
He was accepting.
34 years ago. And that wasn't Jey Uso. Like, in current, that wasn't Iron Sheik 1984. That was Iron Sheik 1991. You know, so, and I remember that to this day. Dude, Xander's never going to forget that, dude. That's like the coolest thing ever, man. That couldn't be better, dude. So he gets in the ring and he cuts a promo. Hey, man, we're still going to be boys after this and whatever.
Did Cody even say a word?
Say that again?
Did Cody even say? He
didn't say one word. Not one word.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Not one word.
And here's $100,000. Thanks for showing up.
it was that was another one of the weird points because Jay as soon as Cody put the mic up to say something, Jay's music hit. Jay comes down and starts talking. Then you have
Sammy comes.
Uso, you know, comes down and then he starts talking about it. And then you have they've been building Sammy up over and over and over and over again. Where I'm going to be a world.
He's got to turn here at some point, right? He's turning.
Randy comes down and says, you know, Sami Zayn, you will be a world champ one day, but
not today.
Right now, not today. You know. And then they had their match, which I assumed that's the way it was going to go. RKO.
Yeah, but I think they're doing something with Sammy where he can't win the big one. He keeps losing, and now he's going to snap at some point. I don't know when and how or whatever.
Can he beat John Cena?
I can't see that, but
neither can I. That's what I'm saying.
At some point, he's going to snap and turn.
I'll see him winning the Raw belt, not the WWE belt.
Real quick, yeah, you're right. So here we go. Orton against Sammy. Winner goes on to the finals. Sweet RKO finish. Match was pretty good. It wasn't anything like spectacular. Pretty good match. But boom, nails the RKO. That's the end. Anything on that at all? Any thoughts? I figured because I think they're going Cody Randy. I assume.
I do too.
Yeah.
And now is this now? And I said last night to a gentleman next to me, I said, they were like, oh, I wanted Sammy to win and have it be Sammy and Jay. And I said, I don't think that's the way they're going. I said, what happens next week what if Cody has to cheat to beat Jay? And now and that's the betrayal on Jay. And then now you're going to have Cody and Randy meet. And then what if Cody has to start cheating to win too? And then this is where we might see, I don't know, but I don't want to see Cody versus Cena right now. I don't want to see that.
I figured that'd be Survivor Series, and that's Cody will dethrone him. But it looks like it's gonna be SummerSlam.
God, and think about this, man. Jay just lost his belt. Cody had the belt for a year, and I'm Cody'd out. I love him to death, but he don't need the belt.
Right.
So it's going to be a rematch, Randy from Backlash?
Right.
I mean, where are they going with this? What's the story?
I don't know. Nia comes out. Nia's cutting a promo, and then Tiffy time comes out, and they're going at it a little bit. Nia lays out Tiffy. Here comes Naomi. Fake cash in. You know what I think about the cash in. I hate the million fake cash ins. I get why they do it. I understand it. But holy cow, it gets old. Place went nuts when Naomi's music hits. Any thoughts about it at all or no?
I think they want. I as a fan, as me, somebody, you know, I don't think we're going to see a Roman Reigns type title reign in WWE again for a long time. So I think the belts are going to. I think the belts are going to swap maybe 1, 2, 3 times a year, and give Naomi her due. The girls, she's hustled. What is the funk?
This is working. What she's doing is working.
She's come so far, yes, and it's come so far. I would love to see her cash in. I would love to see her cash in and be successful on it. I know that I would hate for her to be the one that's the first unsuccessful one, because I think every woman's one's been successful.
Every woman has. I think here's what's going to happen. Jade is going to win. Naomi's going to cash in. Yeah. That's and then she can have a little go with the belt, and then Jade wins it back from her. Yeah, possibly. And Bianca too. Bianca's injured right now with a broken finger. Maybe Bianca joins Naomi. Something that whole thing is far from over.
Right. Well, okay. It was a good segment, because the pop was there for Naomi. I think the crowd is organically behind her. It's
yeah.
She has a big fan base.
So that turned into a Charlotte against Chelsea match. Chelsea, who has been over as over can be, she didn't get the pop I thought she would, especially against Charlotte.
Right.
She obviously is still over it, but Charlotte didn't get booed as much as I thought. Chelsea didn't get cheered as much. Charlotte wins as expected. Tell me about the finish, though. I know you were closer than I was. We know Piper landed on the leg. I figured it was storyline, but did people help her out of the ring? Because if people helped her out of the ring, now we're looking at maybe her knee got jacked up, but I didn't see that.
They instantly, as soon as as soon as she landed on her, because she did one of them things where she runs and then kind of goes over him and lands on her back with it. And she had her in that bridge figure 4. And you could see Charlotte's face, like she didn't know it was coming at that exact
She
point.
landed on that leg.
And that leg bent back, and the brace actually broke. You could see them, messing with the brace. So she broke the brace. Yeah, because the brace was falling off her knee, and she was crying. Like, literally, you could see her. We were up close, and you could hear him. So
I figured it was just an angle, but if you saw that.
It could be, but it could be an angle. If it's an angle, they played it well. But it looked to me, and then I did see something today online, which obviously you can't always, trust, but it said that, Charlotte's knee did get, messed up by Piper, that it landed because if you watch it, both her knees, she literally is, in the bridge, and her knees go under her when she lands on her rather than out, so it was pretty bad, but that match went the way I expected it to, not Everly's, because Chelsea, she's a Chelsea Green fan.
And at the end, Alexa came out to help, and Charlotte walked by her. So I assume we're getting a SummerSlam match with Charlotte against Lexi, but
could be. Is there a PLE in July, or is it
the girls? The girls have a so it could be at that as well. It could be at the all ladies pay-per-view as well. Okay, one last match for us to talk about. As we talked earlier, it's LA Knight, Bronson Reed. There's interference by Braun Breaker. Then we get tsunami. So is LA going to be written off? Where are we going here? Is this going to be some Breaker against LA Knight at SummerSlam? What do you think about that whole thing that happened there?
I could see it being Braun Breaker versus LA Knight. I don't see it being Bronson Reed, because I think they're doing something different with him. I'm a big fan of the big guys. Love Ivar.
And not Seth. Seth is not fighting LA Knight. I wouldn't think
No. So I think it is Braun Breaker. Is that the second time that he's interfered and speared LA Knight? Did he not do that in the 2 weeks ago when he got LA Knight lost?
I can't remember, but probably.
But it's the second time they attacked him. Right. I think it's Braun. So I could see it being Braun. I would prefer it to be Braun, since we got to see what a LA Knight Bronson Reed match looked like last night. A Bronson Reed LA Knight match is a SmackDown Raw Saturday night's main event, not a PLE. Don't put that on a PLE. I don't want to see that. Maybe other people do. But Braun Breaker LA Knight, definitely would love to see that, because they match up better.
Yeah. Obviously, there's something going on with that faction,
and I don't
we're
know
gonna.
what it is. And I don't know what it is. It's like they're they picked on Sammy, and then they picked on this guy. Now they're picking on LA Knight. We know the story is Steph cashing in, but they're trying to set up like feuds, or I don't know if they're trying to get another faction of like baby faces to go against them. I don't know what they're doing, but they're obviously a faction now.
Last thing before we go here, wrap that faction up, because I'll be honest, I have always been a Seth fan, going back to when the Shield was together. I said no. Everybody was like, Dean's the guy. I go, no. Seth is the guy. Yeah. I always thought Seth was the guy, but I don't like this character, the weird dressing, and it's been a little different. And I saw a meme online the other day where 10 years ago, Seth was walking out with the two jobber guys, one of which I can't think of his name. We saw him last night, actually. And then they tried him with the two AOP guys, and they are always dressed in suits, by the way. So then they come out, the AOP guys with Seth. Now they're doing it with Braun and Bronson, and it's like, here they are in suits walking out, and they never talk. None of these guys, and it was like, you're doing the same thing again. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't know if this is working or not. What do you think about this group? Like, I don't think it sucks by any stretch, but it's not working for me, brother. Like, I don't think it's terrible, but
it's not working for me either, because like I said, all signs point to Seth Rollins. I love Seth Rollins. Don't get me wrong. I love him. He's a hell of a wrestler.
Best worker in the company.
He put the company on his back. And when he was the world champ, when they first reintroduced that belt back there at the end of was it 23 through 24 when he lost it? He wrestled for that belt like how many times?
With a year. For a year.
Yeah. So he's a great worker. I don't like this, but we called it. I think we all called it before WrestleMania. We're like, they're setting it up for
to join Heyman.
For Heyman and Rollins to join a group.
But we still haven't heard from him. And now he's all twitching and he's barking like he's like crazy, like, which is fine if you're crazy, but like, he hasn't cut a promo yet. We still don't know why he's in this group. We still don't know why Bronson Reed and Seth are boys. Like, it's just kind of it's just, it's kind of
It feels like it's forced together, but I'm wondering if it's what happens is if it's like a Don Callis type thing where like there's going to be inner wrestling between the guys, like oh well, Seth Rollins is the champ, he's got the belt, but Braun Breaker's the number one contender, so now you guys got to fight each other.
NWO did that, yeah.
It feels forced. It doesn't feel organic, and is this Paul Heyman's writing? Is this Paul Heyman's story? Is this Paul Heyman doing this? And Roman's not done. I think Roman comes back Saturday. I think.
Yeah, we've heard that he could at the pay-per-view. We haven't seen him since the night after Mania.
I think you called it last night, or maybe it was Nick. I can't remember. But Rollins goes to cash in on, say, Goldberg, because doesn't Goldberg only have a one match deal? This
is it. So this is his last match. And he said he got hurt training, so he can barely even do anything. Like, this is it for him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wins the belt, beats Gunther, wins the belt, then gets smashed by Rollins, and Rollins wins the belt. It's the only other way is that if that
or
Gunther cheats to beat Goldberg, and then Goldberg gets pissed and then stomps him out, and then Rollins comes down to cash in on Gunther,
and then here comes the tribal chief
Roman. Because you can't have him. Roman come back and interfere with that cash in on Goldberg, because then if he stops,
then he's still the champ.
Then Goldberg's still the champ, and that doesn't work because he's got a one match deal. So where they're going with the Money in the Bank, the Goldberg Gunther thing, that's 25% of the show that I don't know where they're going with. You know what I mean? Where I'm I'm confused.
It's just a
Other stuff I
one-off,
see
man.
too.
I wouldn't put too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are putting stock into it. I wouldn't put too much stock into it. It's just like it's in Atlanta. It's on network TV. People know Goldberg. They know the name. Oh, that's good for network television. Let's put him out there. Give him his final match. Now, what you're saying, there's definitely ways they can finish it. But yeah, Goldberg's not like walking out of there with the belt or anything.
No, but again, I don't want to, just like I don't want to see Cody beat Cena or have Cody wrestle Cena at Mania. I don't want to see Rollins with the belt right now. Rollins doesn't need the belt. He doesn't need the belt right now. I think there's a few other wrestlers on the show that it can work with them as the champ. You know what I mean? You're going back to him a year later, basically, because he lost the belt, at WrestleMania 40.
Right.
And now you're basically like, okay, hasn't had the belt. Now we're going to go back to Rollins being the champ for how long? Who beats him? Roman? Punk? You know what I mean? What happens?
Yeah.
I don't like it right now. And we all knew that he was winning Money in the Bank when you saw the list.
Yeah. Hey, man. Appreciate you filling in for us, dude. Much appreciated. Nick will be back. Hopefully, he's here for another week. So we hope at some point he feels better and come in studio. We were gonna finish this show with the top 5 shows that we've ever been to. Nick and I will do that later. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's a tease ahead. We will do that a little bit later, hopefully when Nick is here in studio. But Bryon, thank you so much for filling in. And you guys out there, thanks for watching. If you can please hit like, please hit subscribe, tell your friends, share the video. Let us know what you thought about this SmackDown and the Pipebomb Part 2 in the comments below. That would be awesome. Bryon, dude.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome, man. We'll do it again for sure. And again, Nick, hopefully get better. As he does, we have got so many things laid out that we plan on. If he can make it over here, it's going to take us through the entire summer. So we got a lot of cool stuff up for you guys. Hopefully you subscribe and can check it out. Until next time, job guys out.
You smell something, it's us, because we're the stuff.